Alright guys, the laddering begins. This is still going to be a bit of a warm-up type game that we're doing here. Some Terran versus Zerg action. Hopefully you guys find the commentary in today's game, in today's stream, to be excessively good. By forcing myself to individually record every single game, I am also forcing myself to try to be positive. Obviously, if I know people are going to be watching this, I want people to... I'm going to make better content. I'm going to be better because I want more views and more money. So, that kind of makes sense. Anyway, it's Terran versus Zerg. I like to play a pretty cancerous style of TvZ, I'm not going to lie. So they buffed the Cyclone. They made it a bit cheaper. And it actually allows you to play 5 Factory Hellion Cyclone now. You normally couldn't afford it. You had to go 4 Factory, which wasn't enough. You actually died to almost every single attack that your opponent could possibly make to you. So, in this game, we're gonna try to do some Hellion Cyclone, maybe Liberator shenanigans. Premise with I want to preface this with it's not super strong. It's not the greatest strategy ever, but if you're the kind of person, if you're like me and you play StarCraft, and in your brain you're just like, you know what? I don't want to do Mass Marine every game into die to Ultralisks as soon as they pop out. Has that thought ever crossed your mind? Do a strategy that's not that great. As long as you have some fun with it when it works, that's totally acceptable. And, in my personal opinion, a lot healthier. Considering how stressful and difficult StarCraft 2 is as a game, you absolutely, last thing you want to do is find a way to make the game more stressful for you. So, in my opinion, that is the way to go. I've been getting cheesed a lot on ladder lately, but for some reason I just don't seem to care. I suppose. I did a lot of meditation and other voodoo BS to kind of get over my own anxiety, which was making me really stressed out and frankly angry when I would play StarCraft. I would just get upset a lot more than any reasonable person should. Obviously, I also care about StarCraft more than any reasonable person should, but yeah, I'd rather care less about StarCraft and not be angry all the time than care about StarCraft like it's my firstborn son and be angry all the time. So I find that doing weird strategies like this is definitely a good way to do it. But yeah, he'd win. Or 12, cool.
Upgrade complete.
So, now this guy realizes. I queued up on ranked for this game because it's the first real game of the day that I'm going to actually be trying, you know. Usually we make mistakes when we try to do fancy things. So, yeah. It's very important to realize none of your games really matter. I think if I get a good game here that you guys enjoy watching, that you guys upvote, that you guys spam on Reddit or something, I think that's a lot more valuable to me than winning or losing this game. So from a content creator spec point, I think this can still be a pretty fucking good game, even if I get my butthole reamed. And you know what? Sometimes that's just the way it is. Oh yeah. So that's what we're gonna try to do. We're gonna try to play some good games. We're gonna try to have some fun, keep things exciting, keep things interesting, keep things fresh, keep the commentary, keep everything excellent, to be honest. That's big goal. So he's gonna Overlord scout me. I am playing a mech style. I think my style is gonna be very weak towards Broodlords. But outside of Broodlords, I want to believe, and I'm not saying that this is a guaranteed or a known or a set thing by any means at all. I want to believe that I can kind of handle whatever my opponent throws my way. As far as things like Nidus, Baneling Bust, like I want to believe that this build can deal with anything other than that which I know it can't deal with. And if right now, only thing I know it absolutely can't deal with is Broodlords. Broodlords are really hard to beat in the current Terran versus Zerg matchup, purely because you can no longer fight against Corruptors with Liberators. And the weird thing is, Vikings are actually pretty bad against Corruptors because Vikings have the lowest hit points of almost any Terran unit outside of the Cyclone. But the Viking is also cheap unit, so it's really weird, right? It's easy to get a lot of Vikings. But I think the reason why a lot of people aren't okay with that, even though it's easy to get a lot of Vikings, I think the reason why people don't like the Vikings is just because of the fact that Vikings don't scale very well when once Parasitic Bomb gets on the map. So I expect things like Parasitic Bomb to kind of complicate things for the foreseeable future for Terrans that are trying to deal with Broodlords. So basically the focus of this game is going to be get a reasonably sized mech army and try to attack my opponent before they get Broodlords or before they reach an insurmountable number of Broodlords, which is why you're going to see me getting things like this starport. I plan to make the focus of my strategy centered around factory units. I'm going to be playing with a lot of factories, but that doesn't mean obviously that I can't use starport units. It just means that they're not going to be the focus of my strategy by any means at all. So as you guys can probably tell, like I said, I haven't really been able to practice too much because I've been traveling internationally a lot. So the quality of the games is going to be pretty bad. It's going to slowly improve, but honestly, unless one of you guys wants to go back in time, bring me to the future from before I went and took a break by traveling around the world to commentate StarCraft, and then kill me as I am right now so that you can use my time remnant to replace myself, I think you're stuck with Nathanius playing not so great for a little bit. But that's pretty much the only excuse I'll make. We're not going to whine about balance. We're not going to whine about lag. We're not going to whine about our opponent doing strategies that we didn't expect. Anybody who's good at this game tries to do different strategies that aren't normal, because otherwise you become super predictable. So we're going to try to take a good, healthy approach to StarCraft. And that's pretty much going to be it. So I don't know if this guy's going to do a really, really crazy attack, right? We can kind of infer that it's possible. Wow, look at that. Okay, so mutalisks. That's fair. So Muta's a really, really good choice against Mech because my army is so slow. As you guys can tell, I'm also doing a lot of commentary this game, which, in case you didn't... I don't need to explain this, but if you guys ever want to understand why I'm saying what I'm saying right now, I would try to record a video of yourself playing StarCraft at 200 APM while talking to a camera. That will probably give you a little bit of perspective onto why I might say that it's a bit more difficult to play this game with a microphone in your face. So just a little bit of mutalisk harass. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I'm not scared of mutas at all. Probably just keep one Thor in my base, and it's going to be enough to defend against everything. But tanks are really bad against most units that Zerg has. Siege tanks can't siege fast enough to deal with Zerglings, generally speaking. And on top of that, siege tanks also don't really trade very well against Ravagers because they take a long time, like I just said, to siege. So it's just one of those things that we're going to have to keep in mind. We're going to have to try to take that into account with our strategy, with everything that we're doing in this game. And that's why I like to use the Cyclone a lot. I think the Cyclone is really awesome in that regard. It's purely out of how effective it can be as a deterrent for armies that try to do the fancy pants micro and all that jazz. This guy's going to try really hard to beat me because I'm playing unranked, and he knows he'll probably get a lot of ladder points if he wins this. But I like this. I like this. Look at this muta count. It's actually really cool to see. He's got a lot of lings. I'm expecting him, I guess, to try and do some crazy stuff with, like, mass mutaling bane to destroy a big attack that I make at something like 200 supply or whatever, which is totally fine. In fact, I think he doesn't have banelings yet, so what I do is he's probably got like another another ling or something waiting for my army. No, he doesn't? Alright, so what we're going to do is we're just going to attack. I think attacking is the best thing to do right now, because he doesn't have the banelings yet, so if he starts them too late, I should be able to just crush him. And I really only need a little bit to deal with the mutalisks. So we're going to go... I'm expecting him to expect me to go for Hellbats. Yeah, but we're not doing Hellbats. This guy did a pretty interesting strategy, but I don't really like Hellbats because, honestly, I think Banelings are just too good against them. I think Banelings are incredibly powerful versus Hellbats, which is one of the reasons why you're rarely ever going to see me, if at all, build Hellbats. I just don't think that they're very good units when you're dealing with an opponent who has, when you're dealing with an opponent that has something like a bunch of, you know, Banelings and whatnot. So we try to avoid that. That's the goal. It's a big goal. He's gonna come out here, deal with these tanks. That's fine. Probably could have used a few more. Let's just make sure there's nothing burrowed there. Nothing's burrowed there. I want to be able to land that base as fast as possible. I mean, Mutaling Bane has never been good against Mech because Thor's wrecked Mutalisks, so I'd say all things said and done, I'm pretty happy with how this game panned out for me, boys. I'm going to say that this one's pretty much already over too, so make sure you like, comment, subscribe on this video. If you're in the Twitch chat, subscribe too. Subscribe on Twitch, even if it costs money. Caporino. Nate likes paying his Los Angeles rent on time. And I'll answer any questions that you guys have between the games, of course. Ooh, baby. Woo! Thor is here. Nope. Not enough, baby girl. It's not enough. He needed Broodlords to beat me with this. Fungal growth has never been the answer to infested Terrans. I hate to break it to you, baby girl. I think since he knows I'm unranked, he might beg me to leave the game. But, the North remembers. There we go. GG. So, there you go. Just a little bit of Mecherino. You really shouldn't try to play with, you really shouldn't try to play Mutaling Baneling versus Mech. He needed those Banelings a lot earlier. Because the whole idea is that you just swarm and run around everything. So, yeah. Anyway, GG.